It's a rather blustery day here in Umhlanga Rocks, and the reason that I'm wrapping the KwaZulu-Natal winter season from here is because there's so many famous people that have stayed down the road in the Oyster Box Hotel right opposite that iconic lighthouse that is so familiar with the KwaZulu-Natal stretch of beach that is so famous around the world. Now, Marineresco obviously has to be one of the highlights of the KwaZulu-Natal winter season in the manner in which he won the Vodacom Durban July. Sadly, the Champions Cup was a bridge too far and he was unable to defend his title, which was won in resounding fashion by the son of Sail from Seattle, Sail South, beating his stable companion, Captain America. The bottom line is that a panel of judges got together on the Sunday afternoon after the Gold Cup and of course got together to discuss the criteria of all the categories that will be heralded at the Equus Awards on the 15th of August at Emperor's Palace. Now, a couple of contentious issues arose, not least of all the champion stayer category, and that probably will go to Hermoso Mundi. In fact, very few people will argue that he is the best stayer in South Africa after having completed the unofficial Triple Crown, having won the Gold Bowl, the Gold Vase and the Gold Cup. An incredible performance by this very, very talented son of Ideal World, owned by some rather passionate gentlemen and ladies concerned. Graeme Hawkins wears many hats, but I can assure you that there's one thing that is at the top of Graeme Hawkins' list, and that is passion. After the running of the Champions Cup, proudly brought to you by World Sports Betting, and the Gold Cup, proudly brought to you by Elan, we caught up with Graeme Hawkins to get some inside track as to how he sees some of the Equus Awards unfolding, bearing in mind that he is not on the panel. On that panel that make the decision as far as the Equus Awards is concerned, we have Roger Smith, we have Matthew Lips from the National Horse Racing Authority, we have Michael Clow, we have Jason Dedekind and Andrew Harrison, and Larry Weinstein as a non-voting chairman of that panel. All that will be revealed on the 15th of August at Emperor's Palace at the coveted Equus Awards. But for the meantime, let's find out from Graeme Hawkins what he thinks will be effective as far as the Equus Awards 2017 are concerned. Very seldom do you get a feeling of joy like we've just seen over here with a great champion like Captain America getting beaten by a stable companion that had every right to win this race.
No, absolutely, and Brett was always very transparent throughout the build-up to the World Sports Betting Champions Cup. He said wherever Captain America is, that's where Sail South will be. He can't split the two. The one was much shorter in the betting, but today it all panned out well for Sail South. He got the run of the race. He bounced out the gates, which has been a bit of a problem on occasions where he's been further back than he would like to be. Today it all panned out for him and he won a super race.
Now what I can't understand is that this morning, while Alistair Cohn and Dees Dynand and Justin Vermaak were on air, Sail South was still 28-1. A horse like Judicial, who'd only had 2 runs since last year's second to Marineresco, Table Bay, It's My Turn, Black Arthur, all who have had every chance to prove their mettle, much shorter than him in the betting. Inexplicable?
No, it is inexplicable because aside from the fact that he was perhaps living in Captain America's shadow, when you look at the form, he's had every right to win a race of this nature. He's was right up there in the Queen's Plate. He's matched strides with the best of them and come out with his reputation solidly intact. It was interesting that the 2 horses that went into the race with the highest number of individual wins ran first and second. This was Sail South's 9th career victory. Captain America's won 10. I know that merit rating is not about number of wins, but it was interesting that the 2 horses that have now won 19 races between them finished first and second in today's World Sports Betting Champions Cup. And I think all credit to Brett Crawford. He's had a fantastic champion season. Number of Grade 1 winners, and for him it's just been a dream 3 or 4 months here in KwaZulu-Natal.
If you have horses that are in the same race, that are owned by the same owner, you can have a pacemaker. We know Captain America was no pacemaker, but what better pacemaker could you ever get than that big, long, striding, galloping machine?
No, definitely. And you can't actually pace it out with him. He just kills you at his stride. He's a giant of a horse. He sets his fractions, but today was a whole different ballgame. He was comfortable in front. My horse was still a little bit keen, but I just had to keep a little bit of distance between the 2 of us. And my horse fights on. You've seen in his races he can make 7 lengths up quite comfortably, and top of the straight at 3.5 lengths to make up. And it was just a question of getting there too soon or rather too late. And he did a phenomenal job. I'm quite pleased with the performance he gave me today, and he's just been a sensational horse.
Once again, I go back to the days of Politician and London News. They got beat after having won the Vodacom Durban July, or Rothmans July it was on then. It was just a bridge too far for both Bella Bella and Marinaresco, whichever way you look at it.
Marinaresco just never raised a gallop throughout the race, and I think the warning signals were there when they were halfway around the turn. Bernard was asking him just to stay in touch, and he was, in fact, appeared to me that he was actually battling to stay in touch with the horse that was just in front of him, let alone those that had gone out to make the running, Captain America and Sail South. And when they turned for home, to make up that amount of ground on Captain America, let alone Sail South, was just a bridge too far, and clearly it was just an off day for him, and he'll live to fight another day. As Bella Bella would like to have seen her bow out, on a high note, but she didn't disgrace herself. She was an absolutely brilliant winner of the Johnson's Workwear Garden Province Stakes, and I'm sure she's going to have a great career in front of her as such. She's a priceless mare as far as her future career in the paddocks is concerned.
With regard to the staying category, interesting situation for the panel.
No, absolutely, and I think they've already made a statement. I'm not part of the panel this year, which I'm very pleased about. They're obviously looking beyond just the Derby, which is restricted to 3-year-olds. I mean, if winning the Derby was going to automatically make you the Equus Champion stay, well, then none of the older stayers. And as you know, the staying category tends to cater for those horses that are getting on. You know, the true stayers only come into their own at 4, 5, 6, 7 sometimes. But as far as Hermosa Mundo is concerned, no horse has ever won the Gold Bowl, the Gold Vase and the Gold Cup. And I have no doubt in my own mind that I would be putting my vote up for him, because it takes an awful lot of doing to win those 3 races. It's almost like the standard American Triple Crown, where it all happens in 5 weeks. Not quite 5 weeks on this occasion, but from a stayer's perspective, it's a mighty, mighty hill to climb.
The sprinting category is mighty interesting as well, because Sean Terry's adamant that Carry On Alice is deserved of the mantle, but her stable companion has won 2 heavy-hitting Grade 1 races.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not voting on that one, because to split Carry On Alice and Bull Valley is going to be very tough. The sentiment lies with Carry On Alice. She's won a Group 1 at 2, 3, 4 and 5 and never won an Equus Award, and it would be very sad to see her go to stud, as brilliant as she was as a race filly, without having that title behind her in any category in any given year. She's just always come up against something that's had higher claims, or staked higher claims than her. So Bull Valley, it looked like she was a shoo-in for the Equus Award Sprinter of the Year, but along comes Bull Valley, wins the Tochasan Sprint, and then confirms that in a weight for age race. But then, of course, we must remember that Carry On Alice beat the Colts in a Group 1 race at weight for age as well. So if it was up to me, it'd be another dual honour.
The Sporting Post published a very meaningful log, and I think it's fair to say that Legal Eagle deserves Horse of the Year.
Well, I'm not sure that I'd be voting for Legal Eagle, to be fair. I don't want to forget that Whiskey Baron, since being gelded, stepped out 5 times this season, won all 5, including the Sun Met. What more must a horse do? Yes, he left our shores after winning the Sun Met, but does that disqualify him from becoming the Equus Horse of the Year? He wasn't beaten this season, not beaten once. He had 5 starts for 5 wins, including one of the great races on the South African calendar. You're putting me on the spot here, of course, because, as I said, I'm not part of the panel, and I'm glad I'm not part of the panel, but for me it would be Whiskey Baron would be the Horse of the Year.
And finally, this is a question that only you, Graeme Hawkins, can answer. Is there a moment that sticks out for you during the KwaZulu-Natal Season of Champions?
It has to be the Vodacom Durban July. I think as a race, the Independent on Saturday Drill Hall Stakes was unbelievable. That Marinaresco got up to win that. I mean, I think we had 5 or 6 horses crossing the line within a length. That was a great way to start the season. I think Sand and Sea's performance as a 2-year-old in the gold medallion was awesome. He looks a proper horse. He looks the part. He looks a proper horse, but too soon to jump to too many conclusions. We don't want to put him under that sort of pressure. But to carry top weight to victory in the Vodacom Durban July, notwithstanding that he ran disappointingly today in the World Sports Betting Champions Cup, I think that has to be, the Vodacom Durban July is just something very special. And for the top weight to come through and win it in the manner that he did was, for me, quite clearly the highlight of the season.
Andrew, I don't think people appreciate what Summerveld offers to trainers. It's got a multiple choice of tracks. The grass tracks here, in my opinion, are fantastic. It's a pleasure to be able to be afforded facilities like this. So, we've had a great season, and I suppose you always look fondly on a place when you've had a good season. But Summerveld is of the highest standard, in my opinion.
Is it the first time that you've been in the late Colin Scott's boxes this season?
It is, and we've enjoyed it. The horses have enjoyed it. It's a lovely yard, and I hope they put us back there next year.
Well, look, I certainly can't complain. In comparison to the conditions that we have at the moment in Cape Town, which we are rectifying. We are improving our conditions in Cape Town. This last summer was an absolute nightmare in Cape Town. Here, I can choose any day of the week, and I go to Tony Riverland, and there'll be a piece of grass. So the facilities here at Summerveld are world class. Let's be honest. I mean, you can see the views here. It's beautiful. And as I said, we get very well looked after. It's not like in the old days. I used to come up here, they give me a container for an office and 10 horses over there and 10 horses over there. And now I've got this beautiful setup. So
all the mining's worked.
A lot of well, listen, we just used to come and just couldn't believe how bad we were looked after. But it's amazing how times have changed. And Gold Circle really have put in they try hard. Let's put it that way.